about and it is being recorded that pops in my ear and probably everybody else's ear. Again, this is the Build Back Better first series for us on access to capital. And this is about the State Small Business Credit Initiative 2.0 that our two outstanding guests, Ms. Cheryl Bostick and Mr. Stanley Tucker, will talk about shortly once I finish the overview. What is the State Small Business Credit Initiative program? The American Rescue Act of 2021 that the president signed in November as a part of the kind of gets lost, right, in the infrastructure bill that he signed around November the 15th. This was included in that. And this is 2.0. And why 2.0? Because the first iteration was put in place by the Obama administration. It was $1.5 billion. This is a reauthorization, and it expands this program for the states, the District of Columbia, territories of the United States, and tribal governments to $10 billion. So an increase of $8.5 billion. And what does that mean for our local area here, or the DMV? You know, the District of Columbia will get an allocation of about $62 million to manage across about 4 portfolios, focus on small and minority businesses for access to capital. State of Maryland is about approximately 198 million that's projected to be allocated by Treasury, and the state of Virginia is about 230 million that they will get. And my two guests will talk about their programs. The funds are set aside to help us, one, with credit and investment programs for existing small businesses and startups. 2, technical assistance to small businesses applying for the State Small Business Credit Initiative, which is known as SSBCI. And Treasury is actually, the keeper of the money. Those federal dollars will flow down to the state agencies, and or if you're in Puerto Rico, in our territories, and the District of Columbia. Some key things that the money set aside for is venture capital programs, loan participation programs, loan guarantee programs, collateral support programs, and capital access programs. And what those will do is, again, help small minority businesses that, we've had problems, challenges getting capital. In order to secure capital, again, you still must be able to qualify, even for the states to support us as you come to the table. But it opens up other avenues. The CDFIs, the community development financial institutions, are also involved in this process. So a great program going on its second iteration. Again, increase from 1.5 billion to $10 billion that our states across the United States, every state will get their share in order to assist minority and small businesses. And so, and we've got some folks on the Zoom outside of the DMV. So you're part of this whole process too. So we hope to enlighten you on that. And each state runs it differently, as you will find today with my guests. And the first one up will be Ms. Cheryl Bostick. Ms. Bostick is the grants manager for the Virginia Small Business Financial Authority, located in Richmond, and manages that from the state level. Mr. Tucker he manages for the Maryland Small Business Financial Authority, but Maryland actually, he's a private entity that the state contracts with him to manage and do the same things that the state of Virginia does with their grants manager, and that is to manage that money on behalf of the state and get it to the the right entities that are qualified to do so. So what I take the time to do right now is just introduce Ms. Bostick, who is a proud Virginian, as she tells me We met last month, and you know, her background, she's got 20 years of in the education business, where she passionately worked with our students of diverse and low socioeconomic disadvantaged backgrounds. But in that, with that passion, she's also a U.S. citizen diplomat that most people probably wouldn't know, is she went to Kazakhstan in order to teach while she was doing her teaching career. But she transitioned from that to managing grants at the local, state, and federal education programs. And she was swept off her feet by the state of Virginia. And we happen to have her bosses here too. So Howard Pison, got to give him a plug, as they work to take care of you know, businesses that work in the state of Virginia, you know, and that are authorized to work in the state of Virginia, what I've begun to learn. She is the grants manager for the SSBCI program for the state of Virginia. And she will share with us, you know, what she is here to do, and go from there. Also with us is Mr. Stanley Tucker. He represents over 30 years of diversified business experience in the lending, venture capital, investing, development for socially and economically disadvantaged businesses. So Ms. Tucker, if you click that and come on screen so they don't see you hiding there, we appreciate it. Mr. Tucker actually worked for the state of Maryland. He was the executive director for the Maryland Small Business Development Financing Authority for 14 years, actually. And then the state, some legislation was passed, and he formed the Meridian Management Group, where he's a managing partner, and they manage not only the Maryland's Small Business Financial Authority, but also the Maryland's Casino Business Investment Fund, their Community Development Ventures Incorporation, and then the MMG Ventures. And so we got two outstanding people that are going to, professionals that are going to talk to us about this state small business credit initiative. And so I'm going to pause there and bring on first Ms. Cheryl Bostick, so that she can share with us what takes place in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. I keep saying state, Cheryl, you know.
It's okay.
I'm from Louisiana, so we're a state, and we got parishes in the Commonwealth that got their counties. Okay, yeah. Cheryl, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Tommy Marks. It is such a pleasure to join you all today, and congratulations on your inception in November. I was very excited to hear about Virginia getting a minority business development agency. I was only about 2 or 3 weeks old in my position with the Virginia Small Business Financing Authority. And while I was on a webinar learning about my role, Carmen West from the national level, she told me to make certain I get in touch with, she told the audience basically to get in touch with the MBDAs in your state. And so I looked it up, and sure enough, you all were coming on board. So congratulations to you, and thank you so much for having me. Virginia's Small Business Financing Authority, of course, is a subdivision of the Small Business and Supply Diversity Agency, and they do a phenomenal job of making credit initiatives available for small businesses and individuals of color and minorities. So when the SSBCI program came along in 2010, they received $18 million. And the Virginia Small Business Financing Authority is the only entity in Virginia that is authorized to conduct business on this level with the Federal Treasury Department. So in that, we offer several programs, and if you ever get a chance, we want you to visit our website, because at that website, you will find applications for a variety of programs that would help small businesses grow and enhance their ability to serve the public. And of course, in Virginia, we champion small businesses because that is a thriving backbone of our economy. And so with that, we understand that people of socioeconomic or social and economically disadvantaged owned businesses, they oftentimes get overlooked. They don't always fit the commercial traditional bank profile. Perhaps they have inadequacies with their financial statements or record keeping abilities. If their credit score isn't glowing or in that upper 25 percentile, then they may be overlooked for capital that their businesses need to thrive. And we understand that every racial profile in our existence in the human race has individuals who perform on a spectrum, but we know that people of color have talent and they have innovative ideas that could help our Commonwealth grow, that can help our citizens with job employment and security. And so we want to support those businesses. And so we offer a range of programs such as as you've mentioned, but you did an excellent job giving us an overview of different programs, because SSBCI at the federal level, we also offer those programs at the state level. And so we have child fund or child programs, child lending programs to child care centers, development centers, even loans to child cares that operate in homes. So a lot of people don't know about that. And that's something we really want to champion. And so we also do micro lending to businesses, as well as to people of color, people who perhaps have English language learning disabilities or inefficiencies. We worked very closely with community business development centers to help position small businesses to become a business that would be welcomed by larger national commercial recognized banks. So at the Virginia Small Business Financing Authority, our mission is to support small businesses, to see them grow, to see them flourish. And we also even work with venture capital programs at the state level, and that is formerly known as the Community Innovative Technology entity, but now they are known as the Virginia Innovative Partnership Corporation. So we are looking to work with them during this iteration of SSBCI to bring even more dollars to small startup businesses. And of course, those individuals or entrepreneurs who again may not fit the mold because they may be very new in their startup stages. Of course, the larger commercial lenders, they want to see that you have a nice solid background, maybe 5 to 10 years experience with plenty of dollars in your coffers. Well, we want to help those startup agencies or startup businesses as well. So we work with entities that would help bring finances and capital exposure to those smaller entities and those earlier stage developing companies.
Cheryl, thank you very much for that overview. We'll pass the mic to Mr. Tucker. He'll give us an overview of what he does in support of his mission with the state of Maryland.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with the audience the various financing strategies and components that my partners and I developed over years. As Mr. Bostick, Mr. Marks shared earlier, my partners and I, we started out as state employees, but we wanted to do some other things, and we introduced some legislation that ultimately privatized us. And we formed a company, Meridian Management Group, where we manage the various funds for the Maryland Small Business Development Financing Authority. And then we manage a couple other funds as well. And so both private and public, we have private dollars, we have public dollars as well. And we try to really break down what we have into products. We have debt financing, we have equity financing, we have surety bonding as well. And so what we call it a continuum of financing products, where we can birth the company through equity and stay with the company all the way to an orderly exit, including going public. And we've done that several times. The Maryland Small Business Divide, I'll talk about that briefly. Financing Authority has various products. We have direct financing, where we can make working capital loans, debt financing, as well as equity financing. Let me turn this off, excuse me. Equity financing as well through the Maryland Small Business Development Financing Authority. And so they work in conjunction with another component that we have, which we call it the community, not community development, where we got funds from the gaming here in the state of Maryland. It's called the Maryland Casino Business Investment Fund. And back in, I think it was '93, where gaming came to the state of Maryland, we got language in the legislation that essentially says that 1.5% of the gross proceeds from video lottery terminal will go into a fund to invest back into small minority and women-owned businesses. So we have those dollars as well, and God willing, we'll also be receiving some funds from the State Small Business Credit Initiative as well to invest. And what we do is we leverage these funds, if you will, for a company. So depending on where the company is in the life cycle of its business, it depends on which window or windows that we could open for them to and help them grow with financing in the appropriate kind of financing, because as we know, there are various kinds of financing. So when a company walks in our door, we try to determine where they are in the life cycle of their business, and we structure the financing based on the situation. Someone come in, they have a government contract that they need to fund. We started out doing government contracts. We can provide working capital financing to help them perform on that government contract, but also they may need some equipment financing or other kind of financing to complement what they have and what the contract that we have. So what we call a continuum of financing products, so that when someone walks in our door, it depends on where they are in the life cycle of their business. It depends on which window or windows they can walk through to help their businesses grow and develop. And with this State Small Business Credit Initiative, the state of Maryland are allocating a certain amount of money to us, a decent amount of money to us, somewhere between $40–45 million. We will put that into our toolkit as well to leverage these funds. As some of you probably know, with the Small Business Credit Initiative, State Small Business Credit Initiative funds, we have to leverage that with private capital. So that's a quick overview of what we have, but we like to talk about the various products that we have to bring to the table to birth a company, help them grow, and provide, also was very important in providing jobs, if you will, for folks in the community. So I'll stop there.
Mr. Tucker, thanks very much. I'm falling apart here, apologize. So Cheryl, we're going to start. I'll prime the pump with an initial question. What are the eligibility requirements for a business or a nonprofit to obtain the services, the loans that you offer?
Yes, well, in Virginia, there's actually a state code that defines a small business. And so we are looking for for-profit enterprises who has fewer than 250 employees. Okay, so we want to separate the eligibility or criteria for Virginia Virginia says 250 employees or less, or I should say fewer than. So if you have 249 employees, you can apply for our credit initiatives. If your business has a net worth of 2 million or less, then you would qualify. We want to make certain that there's a limit on the gross annual income. So you need less than 10 million. Any of those factors could qualify you for a small business loan. A not-for-profit entity, of course, is defined by a 501c3 status. So those are the criteria. Any one of those criteria would make a business suitable for lending or programs that Virginia Small Business Financing Authority has, or VSBFA.
Okay, appreciate it, Cheryl. Mr. Tucker, any specific qualifications on your side of the other side of the Potomac?
Well, one of the major criteria for the Maryland Small Business Development Financing Authority is that you have to have tried to obtain financing first. And then once you are not able, you could go to banks, et cetera, and you're not able to obtain the financing, you could come to us for the various financing. You could be a startup. We've done a lot of startups over the years because that's always a challenge for a small minority and women-owned businesses. Or you could be a decent sized business. So it depends on where you are in the life cycle of your business. It depends on which window or windows. You could come to us if you're starting out, if you could come to us if you have 50 employees. So it depends on where you are in that life cycle. And we design these various products so that we can help, wherever you are in that life cycle, we have the various financing products where we can help you stabilize yourself or even grow and develop.
Okay, and so Mr. Tucker, continuing with you, so if I'm interested in getting in contact with you, where would I go to apply or to seek your advice on applying for the loan?
Well, you would contact our office. We're located on Baltimore Street in the city of Baltimore. 826 East Baltimore Street is where we are located. Our telephone number there is 410-333-4270. You could call us. Now we're doing a lot of business virtually, because matter of fact, we are literally doing most of our deals virtually right now because trying to bring in folks in to sit down and talk, that's very challenging, given COVID, et cetera. So even though COVID actually has helped us in a way, because more people would just call us and we could deal with them, virtually, and that has actually worked out very well for us. And we do all our analysis. The team we do all our analysis virtually. We don't have to come into our office to do that, and we found that to be very efficient in the process, maybe even more so than when folks coming into the office. So we've adjusted to this new environment, and it has worked pretty well for us. The state of Maryland also allocated us additional funds, which they got from the federal government. And they told us that they got about $10.5 million. And they said, look, you guys have to deploy this capital within a year because, those businesses need it. So we chuckled because we knew the need for financing in our community. We actually deployed that capital in less than 2 months. And so they came back and gave us another tranche, and we almost finished that one as well. And so we know the need for capital in our community. So it wasn't a problem, deploying it. And some of the monies, particularly from the state, actually converted to loans. And we had a pot of money specifically dealing with COVID, what we call COVID funds. And those funds initially started out as a loan, but ultimately some of it converted to a grant. So it has worked out fairly well for us, and we're looking for additional funds. And God willing, we'll get this allocation for the state small business credit initiative. We've been talking with banks because we have to leverage those funds. We've signed up about 3 or 4 banks already. Spoke with a major bank this morning, and there's interest there. And so we have a lot of interest as well. And so we're excited. It's working us very hard, but that's okay, because
Understood.
we know our constituents need this capital, particularly the ones that we developed, and the legislation was designed to help.
Okay, appreciate it. Ms. Bostick.
Yes, we at Virginia Small Business Financing Authority are equally excited, if not more so, to work with our Virginia Bankers Association. We've conducted webinars with the Virginia Bankers Association, with the Minority Chambers of Commerce. We've met with HBCUs. We've also had meetings with our credit unions in Virginia, with the CDFI Coalition, or the Community Development Financial Institutions. We've met with these entities so that we are positioned to offer small lending or business or credit initiatives to minorities, women, people of color, even those individuals or businesses that are located in underserved communities, as well as those communities that are deindustrialized. We want to make certain that we're reaching minorities who are in net zero communities where industrialization has moved away from their area. So these businesses are in desperate need, as Mr. Tucker has referred to COVID from the pandemic. So we are ramped up, we're ready to go in terms of working with other venture capital funds in order to make funds available to those small businesses and entities that need support in order to grow. At the VSBFA, we also do lending to economic development financing authorities, or to those investment groups that does big business, although they are small entities. So there's, like I said, an arrangement or a consortium of different lending opportunities that would provide cash collateral. Oftentimes, if a business notice or a bank notices that you're applying for funds and you have capital, but they need to have some cash on hand to say that to secure your loan, you may not have that $50,000 readily available, where Virginia would partner with you for a loan for a commercial bank. And so we're purchasing participation to help support you, to provide additional dollars to make you fit the profile that the banks are looking for. So again, there's a range of programs. The applications are available on our website. And so we are ready to, we're constantly meeting. We have weekly meetings with the U.S. Department of Treasury to make certain that we are in good position so that when these funds become available, we'll be ready to go. I mean, we have to, as soon as the application is awarded, we are to be up and running within 90 days. So our applications are due on February the 11th. And so we're working and reviewing our partners' application so that we can be in position to move forward. And so we've put our communities on notice, those businesses who are friends of Virginia, who want to see us grow. The requirement is that the small businesses headquarters are in Virginia. Of course, there's a small leeway for businesses who operate in other states to conduct business in Virginia, but we want to hold people's feet to the fire and do well with Virginians. So that's my mission. I'm really on a mission here.
Hey, no, I clearly understand that. And of course, the way the the Congress has done it. I mean, there's a tranche of that 10 billion for each state. So clearly that they looked at that, and obviously those numbers are not straight line. I don't know what formula all those guys in OMB back in the Congress halls used, but that's how the pie was sliced. If you're in California, you're talking close to $1 billion total, but looking at the size and stuff. But I mean, the program is here, and what we're trying to do is make folks aware of it. And I just for clarity, if I'm in Virginia, do I have to go to a bank first before I come to you, as Mr. Tucker talked about in Maryland?
No, oftentimes if someone were to come to us, we inquire. Have you consulted a bank in your area, or CDFI, a banking entity that is geared towards supporting someone in your line? And of course, we're not limiting this to just green energy businesses or technology businesses. Your businesses, there are restrictions on what types of business we will address, but we don't necessarily, I don't think you have to be declined from a commercial lender.
Understood.
Yeah, Tommy, some of our funds, they have to be declined, but they could come directly to us as well.
Okay.
And so it's a combination of it. They absolutely could come directly to us for our various components. Again, what we want to do is leverage as much as we possibly can, but they can come straight to us for each component, and it depends on every situation is different, as you know, when you're in this business.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, Virginia, we have an entire system that I'm not as familiar with, but I want to say there's a project, Rebuild Virginia. We're working towards, and the dollars are flowing. I'm telling you, our senator, our governor, they want to open Virginia. Virginia is open for business. We really want to see the businesses grow and flourish. So we're here, and we also have means of conducting business through electronic formats. We are our accounting and operations manager, Bonnie Height. She's done an awesome job in training us so that we can use DocuSign, so that your information will be secure, and moving forward with electronic signatures, so we don't have to meet you in our office. You can conduct business through electronic means, because we know that the virtual realm is on the move. So we are prepared to meet that business demand. So we're excited about the work in Virginia.
Okay, Ms. Bostick, so here's another question, and you may have already talked to this, but explain the Small Business Investment Grant Fund and open. Is there an open period, or it's a continuous process for applications?
Okay, so for the Small Business Investment Grant, if that's what I'm hearing you say, we want our public to be aware that this is for investors. This is a two-part application process. So the investor has to apply during the window. And it's somewhat interesting. Our General Assembly, they conduct their legislative sessions, and we expect that to conclude somewhere along the lines or timeline of March, April. And then they will fund the Small Business Investment Grant Fund to say that funds are available. And so then the fiscal year begins July 1. So we'll have the application available on our website. And like I said, it's anticipated if it is funded during this General Assembly session. So once it's funded, we will open the application window, and it remains open until we receive the number of applications that would exhaust those funds. We're looking for somewhere between $750,000 to $800,000. And so that money goes really fast. I will tell you, people are on, they're geared and up and ready to submit those applications. And so it goes pretty fast. I'd say within maybe 4 to 5 weeks, we exhaust those funds, because the investor gets a return. So we are incentivizing investors to invest in small businesses. So once they have proof that they've made investments of a minimum of $1,000, they can receive up to $50,000. So if you do the math on that, if everyone is asking for a $50,000 return on their investment, then that money goes really fast. But I will say that the two-part process is that first the investor is applying, and we have an automated switch where it then goes over to the small business. So the small business has to answer the questions that speak to their criteria or eligibility in order for Virginia to say, we have received your complete package. So once we receive your complete package, it's on a first come, first served basis, and that money goes out the door very quickly. So of course, all of the timelines, that is contingent upon legislation.
Like all government things, availability of funds.
Yes,
Right, okay. Good programs, but they gotta be funded.
that's
So,
right.
what I wanna do now is, I know we have a series of questions in the chat as the two of you have been, providing all this great information. And so I'm going to go to the magic folks back in the room, like the Wizard of Oz, and ask them to check the chat for questions and share some of those with us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marks. This is Alice Williams, and there are a few questions here that we would like to address. The first question is from Mr. Travis Young. The question is, as far as eligibility is concerned, are angel groups also included? I believe the language in the grant said further or said funds, but wanted to get some clarity on the distinction. Do I need to repeat that? They didn't say which party needs to answer that, but if you take the time and address it relating to angel funds, that would be helpful.
Mr. Tucker, if you would take a stab at that.
Sure. We don't call them angel funds, if you will. We just have equity dollars that we can invest. So we have debt, we have equity, and also we have another piece, surety bonding, because surety bonding is a very, very difficult kind of financing. A lot of folks don't even understand it, but particularly if you're in the construction area, all about surety bonding. So it depends on the kind of financing that the company needs. So again, when they walk in our door, depending on where they are, if you will, and what they are asking for. For example, we have working capital financing specifically for those who are obtaining government contracts, because we live.
Sorry, Mr. Tucker, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to clarify my question, if I could.
Okay.
So it's less about what businesses are investing, what stage. I guess asking specifically for, if we are an angel group, right? Are we eligible to actually receive funding from this specific grant versus a fund who could receive funding?
No, if you're an angel group yourself, then yeah, you really.
That doesn't qualify as I
No.
guess funding. I know the language says funding. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Alice?
Yes, we do have a second question. Is the SSBCI a loan or a grant? How do you determine the loan grant amount for a business? If a loan, what are the terms and conditions?
Okay, if you want me to, I'll go next. I want to make it clear that the State Small Business Credit Initiative, we're not granting funds. It's a grant in the sense that the Treasury is not asking us to return dollars. So this is not a loan to Virginia. They are granting us the funds to deploy to small businesses. And we can contract with partners, and I'm calling them subrecipients or sub-awardees. So we are partnering with different entities, venture capital funds for the venture capital programs. We are partnering with CDFIs or credit unions to partner for loan guarantee or cash collateral programs, or even capital access programs where there's a loan loss reserve and the SSBCIs will match the fees, the enrollment fee that the bank charges to borrowers so that they can meet the criteria to participate in the loan programs. So we are partnering with entities. We are awarding them funds that we would not expect back. So this incentivizes them to make the loans with different small businesses. So we're not calling it a grant per se, where these funds will not have to be returned. The funds do not have to be returned to the state, or the funds do not have to be returned to the federal treasury. But if a small business is applying for a loan with a credit union or financial institution, your chances of being successful through the application process is much better if they have additional collateral or different means of supporting your application. So this is funds that the small business will have to repay to the entity, but those opportunities without the SSBCI funds would probably not exist, because oftentimes minorities, when they apply to businesses, it's not very profitable for a national commercial lender to do business for a $50,000 loan. It takes just as much resources to do a $50,000 loan as it does to do a $2 or $3 million loan, where the return is much greater. So they would prefer to invest their energies on a multi-million-dollar loan rather than a $50,000 or $100,000 loan. So if you were denied at a larger commercial lender, you want to see your credit union or your CDFI or your small business financing authority, such as VSBFA, you would come to us and say, I really need $150,000. Then we wouldn't have a problem if you completed our application, provide us with the documentation or financial statements that we need. And if you are not prepared, we would then recommend that you meet with a small business development center who would help you with those criteria, those documentations, so that you would be in position to secure a $150,000 loan or even a $250,000 loan. So we provide the match requirement that is often missing from the lender's package. So you want to think that, yes, this is a great opportunity. You will be in a much better position to secure capital to grow your business. And so we've already met with the Virginia Bankers Association. Several banks were on the line to say, when the credit union, when these small businesses come to you, or when the small business come to you for a bank, refer them to the SSBCI program. Oftentimes, the business owner may not know that the SSBCI program exists. So if they are denied for a loan, we've already had the conversation to say, hey, direct them to one of our partners or to VSBFA, who would be able to make the loan happen. Because like I said, the business can be thriving, but if you want to grow and expand, you're going to need access to capital. And the commercial lenders may not always be willing to lend you that capital. But hey, the federal government says you're worthy of access to capital, and we're here to make it work for you. Of course, on an applications basis.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. Thanks very much. Any comments, Mr. Tucker? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, yes. Cheryl's strategy is actually very similar to ours. There are some nuances that's a little different, if you will, but essentially, we have these various kind of components. Again, where we could start a business up and just move them right along. But we work very closely with commercial banks. Matter of fact, I received a call earlier today about a gentleman wanting to work with us for a customer he has. And basically they would like to, for us to come in with some financing. However, he wanted us to not to be at the same level with them. You know, they wanted to be above us in terms of collateral, etc. But by the time we finished the conversation, we agreed that it really made sense for us to be at the same level because we bring other kind of resources to the table. Particularly, we've developed a strategy which we call a success assurance model, where we also have the capability to go in and provide technical assistance as well. And we've shown statistically that when we utilize our success assurance model, the longevity of the businesses is longer than those that are not, where we're not dealing with our success assurance model as well. So, you know, we look at it different ways and try to bring different kind of products and different kind of expertise, not just financial, okay, but other kind of expertise, things that we've known over the years that works. For example, you know, if we look at a company, we want, they have some challenges and whatnot, but we like the entrepreneur, etc. So, and if we want to really go deeper, we have a group where we could send in and they could do an audit, okay, of the company itself. Because on my staff, matter of fact, when I first got there, it was just me and the secretary. But one of the things my strategy was in terms of building my team, folks must have a strong background in accounting, because I know we wanted to have the capability of going in and doing an audit ourselves, you know, and really see what's going on, see what's happening, seeing what's happening in the company, structuring the deal accordingly, short-term, long-term. So we have that capability ourselves. We want to, matter of fact, we want to beef that up even more so that we can, so the probability of success increases. So then we'll learn a lot more about that business.
Understood. Yeah. Alice?
Yes,
I think
sir.
we got time probably for a couple of more questions. Because
Okay,
we got
great.
about 10 minutes left for
Thank
the
you.
hour.
We have 3 questions. The first one is, if you're a business in Virginia, can you apply in Maryland?
Is that for me or?
If
I
you
think that's for
can,
you,
sir,
Mr. Tucker.
yes,
They said if
absolutely.
you're in Virginia, but can you apply in Maryland?
Well, you have to be, your company has to be located in Maryland for us to really deal with you now. We did at one point had a venture capital, pure venture capital. Matter of fact, we had a small business investment company. And with that particular component, we could do deals wherever. Okay, we were in Maryland, we did deals in California. Okay, but with the financing that we have now, your company has to be domiciled in the state of Maryland.
Understood. Alice?
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is from Ms. Carmen West. The question is, are you using any minority banks for your allocations or minority CDFIs? And can you provide a list of your lending partners?
Is that question for me?
Are you for me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay, so.
I can respond to that too.
Okay, so we do have a list of banks that is published monthly on the Department of Treasury in Virginia that provides us a list of banks who are basically in the clear to conduct business. And so for the Capital Access Program, where there's a loan loss reserve, these are the banks that qualify to do business with VSBFA. So I can drop that link in the chat. So if you all are prepared, you can grab it Let me see if I can
Sure,
get
go
that
ahead.
for you.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see if I can do that to everyone. And it's, I have an excellent chief credit officer. She's been conducting training under the authorization of Howard Pysons, my supervisor. And it's funny that someone asked this question because I'm like, I know this one because we were able to, she did some training and gave us, she showed me where I could find that. So when you go to the Department of Treasury in Virginia, that website, it then gives you a list under operations of the monthly listing of qualified banks. So that's
Okay.
the link for you there. So that's
Thank
a
you
shout
very-
out to Anna Mackley.
All right, thanks very much. Mr. Tucker?
Sure. For matter of fact, I'm actually on the board of a minority bank, Harbor Bank of Maryland, and we when we initially received our license for the small business investment company, we invested $500,000 in the bank ourselves. We thought that was a great investment, and it has been, and I continue to be on the board as well. But we can deal with pretty much any bank, if you will. You know, they're good banks, they are not so good banks. But we've been doing this in Maryland close to 30, 35 years. And so we know who our partners are. And we have partnered with a number of banks. As I mentioned earlier, I received a call from a friend of mine who was with Truist, which was two larger banks that have actually merged together. So he called me specifically about a couple of deals. And so we said, yes, absolutely. Let's sit down and talk about that. And so we have a lot of relationships, not only with the larger banks, but with the medium-sized banks. For our I may have mentioned this earlier, for our SSBCI funds, I said we've lined up 3 banks. 2 of them are larger banks, and one of the smaller. We have M&T Bank, we have the Minority Bank, Harbor Bank, and then there's one, Fulton Bank. But we also talking with other banks where we can leverage our SSBCI funds because as you know, the SSBCI funds has to be leveraged with private dollars. So we have great relationships with the conventional banking institutions. We have relationships with venture capital firms. We have a relationship with some of the counties who have lending, and we merge together. We work together to try to find a way to fund these companies that badly needs the kind of financing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, great information. Alice, I think we'll stop there. If there are any other questions in the chat, what we'll do is we will look at those questions, and if they're directed at both, we'll send them to them and ask them for a response. And then we will, like we've done in the past, we will send out the responses to everybody that attended, because we have your email addresses. So no question will go unanswered. We just won't be able to answer them all on the screen because our time is getting ready to come to an end. But I first and foremost want to thank my guests for taking time out of their busy schedules to be with us and to share this important information. As we talked, a lot of information, but we have handouts that we will post on my website, which is www.mbda-virginia.com. And I'm sure Claudia will put it in the chat. And when you go there, you'll be able to download the material that they provided us. And you know, as we went through this is not a grant program. And I think when I started out on the overview, it's a loan program. And Cheryl really explained it. I think for a young man from Louisiana in the bayou and sugarcane land, made it very simple. The government grants that money so that she can provide loans to help me get that loan from the banks to help me grow and scale my company. So the resources are out there. This is the first in the series of our access to capital and webinars, and we're going to do some more. In fact, this is a great segue. In fact, Mr. Tucker talked about the surety bonding business, which is real tough. On the 17th of February, we're going to have the former director of the Small Business Administration's Office of Surety Guarantees, Peter Gibbs, who is now the president of Foundation Surety and Insurance Solutions, will be on screen on the 17th of February. You can save that date. The flyers are going to come out. A week later, we've already teamed up with Mr. Tucker's group, MMG, Meridian Management Group, and their vice president, Michael Harrison, and I will bring to you with Michael, obviously our keynote, also a virtual discussion on funding challenges, how to overcome funding challenges, and talk about a host of other topics that Michael will bring to the table. And we will have some more of those in the series. So next month, 2 more access to capital informational webinars.
Tommy, that's a point is I would be remiss if I don't share this, that Sharon Pender is a member of our board in the state of Maryland. She's the one that told me about this particular seminar, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with this seminar. It was very important and very well done, by the way.
Thank you very much. And of course, I'm probably going to get my hand spanked, because at the beginning, what I should have said is this webinar is brought to you by way of the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council, which is run by my president, Madam President Sharon Pender, who is actually on leave currently. But she's listening. I can almost guarantee.
Yeah, you know that.
And so, thanks, Stanley, for saving me to get that plug in for the council. And she recently had enough confidence in me and made me her vice president of the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council, which is the premier advocate for minority businesses in the DMV, and that's our regional coverage down to Fredericksburg. But that consists of a network of 22 other councils across the United States.
Yes, sir.
That she's a part of the National Minority Supply Development Council. And the Virginia Business Center, as I close, is a part of the 44 member network of the Minority Business Development Agency. We have 34 other centers just like mine, and we have 9 specialty centers, 4 advanced manufacturing centers for businesses out there, 1 located in Baltimore, 1 in Connecticut, 1 in San Antonio, Texas, and I just drew a blank on where the 4th one is. And
go ahead. I just wanted to, because I know you're closing, I just wanted to say that in Virginia, small business is big business. And in addition to doing, big dollar bonds for transportation issues and clean energy, we really want to see our small businesses thrive. So again, thank you all for having me. And I think I see Carmen West in the chat. If she's the same Carmen West, then again, thank you for bringing my attention to MD or MBDAs, because we also, we're looking to partner with, we have some applications to partner with minority lenders as well, and minority investment groups. So we're excited about the work ahead. And again, thank you, Tommy, for having me.
So if you're in the DMV and you're interested in the Virginia Minority Business Development Agency, go to my website again at www.mbda-virginia.com. And my colleague, Claudia Barrera, will connect us, and we can share with you. Ultimately, my job is to get to you where the resources are. And if you don't remember anything about this webinar, it's going to be posted as recorded on the website, and you'll be able to get in touch with the folks that were here or anybody else that you can think of. Our job is to help you get there. Again, thanks for attending. We couldn't have been successful without you being in the audience. And I want to thank my two guests, Ms. Bostick and Mr. Tucker. Thanks very much. And
Thanks for having me.
I'm running a little bit. I've got another panel with the Department of Energy. And if you signed up from that one, you'll see me on that one in about a half hour.
All right. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.